This has been an intense year. I can't believe we're only 4 months in. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to say how much it means to us that you're all here with us today. Now, I know that it hasn't been easy being a developer these last couple of months, and that's probably an understatement. But what I can assure you is that we're hard at work making sure that people don't misuse this platform so you can all keep building things that people love. And today, I'm happy to share that we are reopening app reviews so you can all keep moving forward. Now, I'm looking out, and I see a lot of people that we've worked with for a long time here. And a lot of people who've traveled to be here from around the world, and a lot of you are building great tools that help people connect in new ways. And I just want to take a moment up front to thank each and every one of you for all that you're doing to help bring the world closer together. Thank you so much. Now, we're all here because we are optimistic about the future. We have real challenges to address, but we have to keep that sense of optimism too. And what I've learned this year is that we need to take a broader view of our responsibility. It's not enough to just build powerful tools. We need to make sure that they're used for good, and we will. Now, we're idealistic, and we've always focused on all the good that connecting people can bring. And there's a lot of it. Just since the last F8, we've seen the Me Too movement and the March for Our Lives organized at least part on Facebook. We've seen people come together after Hurricane Harvey to raise more than $20 million for relief. And we've seen more than 80 million small businesses use these tools to grow and create jobs. But we've also seen people try to use these tools for harm. And that goes for Russia interfering in elections, for fake news, for hate speech, and for data privacy issues. So we're investing a lot to address these issues and keep people safe. And I'm going to go through all of that head on in just a minute because I think it's important that everyone here knows exactly what we're doing to address them. But we also have a responsibility to move forward on everything else that our community expects from us too. To keep building services that help us connect in meaningful new ways as well. The hardest decision that I made this year wasn't to invest so much in safety and security. That decision was easy, right? I just went to the people who were running those teams and asked them how much we could possibly invest productively, and then I transferred all those people to them. The hard part was figuring out a way to move forward on everything else that we need to do too. Recently, I was having a conversation about what Facebook stands for. Or what is that basic idea that the world would lose if Facebook went away? When I was getting started with Facebook back in 2004, what struck me was you could go online at that time and find almost anything. Or you could look up any information, you could find any product, you could read news, you could download movies and music. You could find almost anything except for the thing that matters to us most: people. So I started building a service to do that, to put people first and at the center of our experience with technology, because our relationships are what matters most to us. That's how we find meaning and how we make sense of our place in the world. Now, we're not the only ones to build a communication service. But we are the ones who do it again and again in all of the different ways that people want to interact online. This is our DNA. And we have built and grown service after service that put people and our connections and our relationships at the center of the experience. And we've come a long way. But when I look out today, it still surprises me how little of the technology that our industry produces is designed to put people first. Our phones are still designed around apps. Well, that's not how we think. I believe that we need to design technology to help bring people closer together. And I believe that that's not going to happen on its own. And so to do that, part of the solution, just part of it, is that one day, more of our technology is going to need to focus on people and our relationships. Now, there's no guarantee that we get this right. This is hard stuff. We will make mistakes, and they will have consequences, and we will need to fix them. But what I can guarantee is that if we don't work on this, the world isn't moving in this direction by itself. So that is what we are all here to do. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to start by talking about keeping people safe, and then we're going to discuss all the things we're doing to keep building services to help us connect in meaningful new ways. And I want to start today by talking about protecting something that is really incredibly important to all of us, and that is the integrity of our elections. In 2016, we were slow to identify Russian interference. We expected more traditional cyber attacks like phishing and malware and hacking, and we identified those and notified the right people, but we didn't expect these coordinated information operations and large networks of fake accounts that we're now aware of. So I sat down with our teams after this, and we said, we will never be unprepared for this again. And since then, there have been important elections like the French presidential election, the German elections, the Alabama Senate special election last year, and we've been more prepared. We deployed new AI tools that successfully identified and took down tens of thousands of fake accounts before they could do anything. We've traced the fake account network back to Russia and taken down their network. We're doing more. We're requiring everyone running political and issue ads or running large pages to be verified with a government ID. We're making ads more transparent. So now you're going to be able to see who is running a political ad, who they're targeting, how much they're spending, and most importantly, what other messages they're sending to different people. That is a higher standard of transparency than TV ads, than print ads, or anything else you will find on the internet. By the end of this year, we will have 20,000 people working on security and content review at Facebook. And we've created an independent election research commission so independent academics can give us ideas and hold us accountable to make sure that these systems work. Now, this is an important election year. Not only the big US midterms that are coming up, but there are major elections around the world. In Mexico and Brazil, there are elections coming up in India and Pakistan and more, and we are focused on this. Beyond elections, we are focused on fighting fake news more broadly. And there are really three categories that we're focused on here. The first category is just spam. Right? These are people who aren't ideological. They just want to make money. Hawking the most sensationalist junk that they can come up with to get you all to click on it. These are the people who in the 90s would have been sending you Viagra emails. And the playbook here is pretty simple. Right? It's to take down their ads on their sites so they can't make money, build tools to detect and reduce the distribution to remove their economic incentive, and then eventually they just go do something else to go make money. And we're starting to see this. The second category is fake accounts. And the idea here is less focused on looking at the content specifically and more focused on trying to find bad actors and getting them off the network. So some of this is nation states who are politically motivated, like we talked about before. But all of this we're fighting in the same way, with AI tools, with thousands of content reviewers, and verifying people who are running large pages and running sensitive ads. Now, the third category is real people who are just sharing provably false hoaxes. And the playbook here is building tools to get better at flagging content that is going viral so fact checkers can look at it so we can show it less. And for the people who do see it, to make sure that they see related articles that are more accurate, that put this in context so people can understand what's really going on. So a lot of the work over the last year and a half has been bringing on more and more fact-checking partners all around the world in different countries who speak all of the different languages that we need to cover. So there's a lot more here to do. But these are the three basic categories, and we are making good progress on all of them. I also want to talk about data privacy. What happened with Cambridge Analytica was a major breach of trust. An app developer took data that people had shared with them and sold it. So we need to make sure that this never happens again. So we're taking a number of steps here. First, as you all know, we're restricting the data that developers will be able to request from people. Now, the good news here is that back in 2014, we already made a major change to how the platform works to prevent people from sharing a lot of their friends' information. So this specific situation could not happen again today. And since then, we've taken a lot more steps as well to restrict other data. But there are still more steps that we're taking to do this even further with groups and events and the data available through login to prevent future issues that might come up. Second, we need to make sure that we find any other bad apps that are out there. So we're currently in the process of investigating every single app that had access to a large amount of people's information before we made these big changes in 2014. And if we find anything suspicious, we're going to bring in independent auditors to do a full audit. And if any data was misused, then we'll ban that developer, and we will tell anyone whose data was affected. We've also started putting a tool in front of everyone that shows them all of the apps that they are using and lets them easily remove access to the ones that they no longer want to use. And with the GDPR coming up in Europe, we're asking everyone around the world, not just in Europe, to review your privacy controls. So to all the developers who are here, I know that the vast majority of you are focused on building good things. We need to take these steps to make sure that everyone on our platform is focused on building good things. And I believe that putting in these stronger protections now will give you more ability to keep building for the long term. Now, I also want to share one new thing that we're working on with data privacy. And we have a lot more updates like this coming. But this is an example of the kind of thing that we are working on. In your web browser, you today have a simple way to clear your cookies and clear your browsing history. Right? And the idea is that a lot of sites need this data to work. You need cookies. But you should have the ability to go in and clear your history at any point that you want. So we're working on a version of this for Facebook too. It's a simple control where you can clear your browsing history, what you've clicked on, the websites you visited, and so on. And we're going to call it Clear History. And we're starting with something that a lot of people have asked about recently, and that's the information that we get from websites and apps who are using Facebook's advertising and analytics tools. So you're going to be able to use this tool to see the information about the apps and websites you've interacted with. You'll be able to clear all this information from your account, and you'll even be able to turn it off, having this information stored with your account going forward. Now, to be clear, when you clear your cookies in a browser, it can make parts of your experience worse. Or you may have to sign back into dozens of websites. You may have to reconfigure some things. And the same is going to be true here. Or your Facebook won't be quite as good while it relearns your preferences. But after going through our systems, this is the kind of control that we think that people should have. So we're building this, and we're going to have a lot more like this to talk about soon. So overall, we're going to keep investing heavily in security and privacy. But security isn't a problem that you ever fully solve. Right? This is an arms race. And we're going to be working to stay ahead of our adversaries forever. So while we're doing this, we also have a responsibility to keep building services that bring people together in new ways. Now, if you've been to F8 before, you've seen this. This is our 10-year product roadmap, and it sets out all of the different areas that we're working on and when we expect these ecosystems to be fully developed. And across all our products, our goal is to give everyone in the world the power to share anything they want with anyone, anywhere. To build stronger relationships, to break down geographic barriers, and to meet new people and interact in new ways. We have a lot to do here. So we are going to focus on keeping we're going to keep building, even while we focus on keeping people safe. And we're going to talk about what we're going to be doing across the rest of the family of apps for the rest of today. So let's start with the Facebook app. Like all of you, we want to build something that's not just fun to use, but is good for people. So we've done a lot of research to understand what parts of the internet and social media are good for our well-being and which parts aren't. And the summary is that when you're using the internet to interact and to build relationships, then that is associated and correlated with all of the positive aspects of well-being that you'd expect. Better long-term health, better long-term happiness, feeling more connected, feeling less lonely, and so on. But when you're just using the internet to consume content passively, whether that's video or news, then that is not associated with these same benefits to well-being. And we've heard this feedback from a lot of people too. People want Facebook to be about friends and interacting with people. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to talk about a few new ways that we're focused on taking the experience in this direction. We're rolling out something that we call Watch Party, which lets you watch video and chat with your friends. So let's say that your friend is testifying in Congress, for example. Now you're going to be able to bring your friends together, and you can laugh together, and you can cry together. Some of my friends actually did this. Let's not do that again anytime soon. People often tell us that groups are the most meaningful part of Facebook. You can feel like you belong in a community. You can meet new people who share your values. For some people, this might be a support group for new parents. For others, it might be about a disease you have. For others, it might be about finding people to come together and volunteer with. People want to be a part of meaningful communities. So today, we're launching a new Groups tab to make groups more central to the overall Facebook experience. So for me, I'm going to have all my groups in one place, my family group, my running group, my game group, my sheepdog appreciation groups, all in one place. Now, to help more people grow their communities, we're building a join group button and plugin that admins and developers can add to their websites and their emails. This is important because a lot of what we need to do to help more meaningful groups form is just give more tools to creators. Every great community has engaged leaders, so a lot of what we need to do is just give more people the tools to be community leaders. All right, now, talking about meaningful relationships, did you know that 1 in 3 marriages in the United States start online? And I can't tell you how many times I'll be walking down the street in some city and a couple will come up to me and they'll say that they met on Facebook, and sometimes they have their kids with them and they'll just point to them and they'll say thank you. And I have to say, these are some of the moments that I'm really proud of what we're doing, right? I know that we're making a positive difference in people's lives. But, the reality is, today, we haven't even built any features to help people find partners. There are 200 million people on Facebook who list themselves as single, so clearly there's something to do here. And if we're focused on helping people build meaningful relationships, then this is perhaps the most meaningful of all. So today, we are announcing a new set of features coming soon around dating. Now, this is going to be for building real long-term relationships, all right, not just hookups. It's going to be in the Facebook app, but it's totally optional. It's opt-in. If you want, you can make a dating profile. And I know a lot of you are going to have questions about this, so I want to be clear that we have designed this with privacy and safety in mind from the beginning. Your friends aren't going to see your profile. You're only going to be suggested people who are not your friends, who have opted into dating, who fit your preferences, although I can't promise that you're going to get email. It's a tough world. All right, Chris Cox will come up in a bit and walk you through this in more detail, because I want to make sure that you all see all the details here that we built in around privacy and safety. But the bottom line is we want Facebook to be somewhere where you can start meaningful relationships. So we're excited to start rolling this out soon. Now, another way to help people connect in new ways is through commerce. We started building Marketplace because we saw that one of the most popular uses for groups was building these buy and sell groups. So people would start groups like Bay Area Moms Buy and Sell, where people would be able to come together and ask for advice on all the gear they needed, and meet people who are like them, and can ultimately buy and sell things with people who they have something in common with. And Marketplace is now live in more than 70 countries. More than 800 million people around the world use it monthly, including more than 1 in 3 people on Facebook in the US. So this is starting to be a pretty big deal. And it's helping people earn more income and connect in a new way. All right, so this is Facebook. We are focused on helping people build relationships with friends and family, with groups, and meeting and interacting with new people. Now let's talk about Instagram. So our focus here is helping people capture any moment they want and come together around shared interests. Some of the best stories that we hear are around ad hoc communities that spring up on Instagram. More than 200 million people use Explore on Instagram every day. Since we launched hashtag following in just last December, more than 100 million people now follow hashtags. So we want to make it even easier to find the communities for the things that you're interested in. So we're launching a completely new design for Explore that is going to organize the content around topic channels now. So now your Explore is going to be even more focused on the things you're interested in. We're also focused on new ways that people are going to be able to use Instagram to communicate and build stronger relationships. So it turns out that a lot of people are using live video, basically just to hang out when you can't be physically together. It's amazing how much of all of our use of these social tools is just to get as close to feeling like we're there with someone when we can't physically be there. So today, to make this easier, we're announcing video chat and Instagram. You're going to be able to just tap on a new camera icon right in the top of any direct thread that you have, and you're going to be able to video chat one-on-one or with groups. You're going to be able to minimize the video while you're chatting and using Instagram. And I think that this is going to be a really big deal, and people are really going to like this. We are also building more creative ways for people to share on Instagram. Last year at F8, we announced the AR camera effects platform, and today we are bringing it to Instagram. So now anyone is going to be able to build face filters and effects, and when you go to your camera, you're going to be able to see effects that are relevant to you and from the accounts that you follow. And if you're browsing stories and you see a cool effect, you'll always be able to try it on. So we're excited to get this in people's hands soon. All right. Now let's talk about WhatsApp. So here, our focus is on building new ways for people to connect privately with close friends and groups and businesses. Now, before we dive in here, I just want to say, yesterday, Jan Koum, the founder of WhatsApp, announced that he is leaving us and moving on. And I just want to take a moment to thank Jan, because Jan has done an amazing job building WhatsApp. He has been a tireless advocate for privacy and encryption. A lot of you probably don't know this or remember this, but when WhatsApp joined us in 2014, we actually hadn't rolled out full end-to-end encryption yet. Jan and I talked about how to do this together, and one of the things that I'm most proud of is that we have built the largest fully encrypted communication network in the world, and this would not have happened without Jan, and I'm deeply grateful for the work that he has done. So please join me in thanking him. All right, now video calling is also one of the most popular features on WhatsApp already. When I'm traveling and I can't be there to put my girls to bed at night, it's really nice to just be able to see their face and talk to them. And a lot of people agree. Right? Around the world, people are already making more than 2 billion minutes of voice and video calls on WhatsApp alone. And today, we are announcing that we are bringing group video calling to WhatsApp soon, too. All right, I want to talk about stories for a minute. So across our whole family, we've really gone all in on stories as a format for being able to quickly share video and photos throughout your day. And in each of the apps that we've launched it's evolved to be somewhat different, but it's grown quickly. Instagram was the first to really take off here. Facebook It started a lot slower, but is now starting to grow quickly too and do well. But WhatsApp has been by far the biggest of these products. More than 450 million people use WhatsApp status every day, and it's growing really quickly. So the next phase for WhatsApp, beyond just communicating with your friends and family, is going to be helping people connect with businesses as well. And today, a lot of people don't want to call businesses, or you just want to be able to text. That's a really big shift in how we all communicate, and I think that's just going to be a really big deal here. So earlier this year, we launched WhatsApp Business to let small businesses create a presence on WhatsApp and give them some tools for messaging. And already in just a few short months, more than 3 million people are already using WhatsApp Business, and it's growing really quickly. So now, the next step is going to be giving large businesses tools to be on WhatsApp too, and we're working on this now. For Messenger, we are focused on building richer ways for people to connect privately with their friends and family and businesses too. When you're messaging, you really want a simple and fast experience. So we're taking this moment to completely redesign Messenger to focus on these ideas. And here's what the new Messenger is going to look like. It's clean, it's going to be fast, and David is going to come and talk about this in a bit more detail in just a little bit. Now, I mentioned earlier that we are bringing the AR camera effects platform to Instagram. And we're also bringing this to the Messenger platform as well. It's going to be a really fun way for people to use augmented reality to connect with their family and friends privately and in real time. And I don't know about you guys, but my daughters, when I call them when I'm traveling, they love these effects. Right? Priscilla will be there, and Max will just be like, "Oh, look, Mama, Dad has a bunny," or an ogre. All right, we're seeing good momentum for Messenger Business too, with more than 300,000 bots and businesses now using these tools, and people are sending more than 8 billion messages between businesses and people every month. All right, so that's Messenger. All right, so now let's go beyond our apps for a minute and talk about virtual reality and the future. So our goal here is to create this real feeling of presence, right? Like you're right there with someone, even if they're halfway around the world. And this idea of being physically or feeling like you're there with someone, even when you can't physically be there, is something we've talked about a lot today with video chat. But over the long term, virtual reality and eventually augmented reality are going to take this to a completely different level, where it's not just going to be about being able to see someone's face on a small screen. You're going to actually be able to feel like you're there with someone. So here's an example of how compelling I think that this is going to be. Now, if you have some photos from your childhood home, we can now use computer vision to fill in the gaps with this pointillism effect and recreate the rooms of your childhood home where you grew up. So you're going to be able to go into VR with your family and visit and feel like you were right there. It feels like you were in a dream. It is wild. So this work of mapping out immersive spaces is just another important step on the path to creating this real feeling of presence. Now, in addition to software, we're all building hardware. So we've been preparing Oculus Go for launch. And the big news I have to share today is Oculus Go is shipping today. It starts at $199. It is the first really affordable standalone virtual reality headset. It's launching with more than 1,000 apps, and it has the highest quality lenses and optics that we have ever built into a VR device. Oculus Go is going to be, it's the easiest way to get into VR, and we think that this is going to be how a lot of people experience virtual reality and virtual presence for the first time. And to make sure that all of you get to experience this too, everyone at F8 is getting a free Oculus Go to take home. We're excited about that too. All right. All right. So this is how we are thinking about our responsibility. To keep people safe and also to keep building. We're here to build things that bring people together and to put people in our relationships at the center of our experience with technology where they belong. Because for all the challenges that we face today, the vast majority of what happens on these services is people getting closer to the people they care about, even when time or distance get in the way. And we can help more people do this. Whether it's reaching out to a friend that you lost touch with, or finding a group to belong to, or just sending a video to your sister of your kids, the best part of what you do isn't on Facebook. It's the relationships you build and what you can go do together. That is what this is all about. So if you believe, like I do, that giving people a voice is important, that building relationships is important, that creating a sense of community is important, and that doing the hard work of trying to bring the world closer together is important, then I say this: we will keep building. We need to keep this idea alive, and that is what we are all here at F8 to do together. So yes, this is an important moment. We need to do more to keep people safe, and we will. But we also need to keep building and bringing the world closer together. Thank you for coming out today. Thank you for everything you're doing to bring people together. Have a great F8.